All right, I just came across what might be the coolest thing I have ever seen in any combat footage or archival video. So this is something that got recommended to me. It was put up by the National Archives. It was a film by Jack Lieb. So this is a film taken in World War II by Jack Lieb. He was a war correspondent. And at this point in the video, he's on his way back over to France after having been there during the invasion of Normandy. And he's hanging out with these troops aboard LSTs who are coming ashore with all this equipment. Well, it just so happens that at the same time, my grandpa was doing the exact same thing, and it turns out in the exact same place. So my grandpa also carried a camera in the war, but for still photography. So this picture's important. I'll show you in a second why. This picture is the most important, without a doubt. And then this picture here, also very important. So it's always been like if I'm ever watching archival footage, it's like out of habit, you're always looking for, like, at least myself, I'm always looking for my grandpa in it, just because, like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool. But I want to play, and I apologize for it being a screen recording. This is 46 minutes. I didn't want to download all of it. So this is Jack Lieb's film. I'm going to play it all the way through, and then we'll go back to my pictures.
A long convoy of many of them, everyone loaded to the gills with equipment that was sorely needed. But here you'll get an idea of what the beach looked like, and these ships are actually waiting for the tide to recede so they could send their equipment ashore without going through deep water. On D-Day, they had to go through.
Check that out. So it's like, okay, a lot of ships, they want, like, what are the odds that some of them have the same number, right?
The deep water. And at this particular moment, they're waiting for the...
So this shot's interesting to me because while it's tempting to want to think this guy is taking a picture, I don't think it is, and I'll show you why. Just keep in mind this area up here. Just what these engineers are doing on the beach and the way this terrain is up here, I think this is on a ship that's one or two ships in a row further down from where my grandpa's ship was.
Ramps to be rebuilt after a severe storm.
See the letter F up there? Notice that's to the direct front of Jack Lieb's ship.
So they could go ashore without damage.
This shot right here it's tempting to think that what I'm looking at here is this, because this looks like a bulldozer and all these guys are standing on the ship watching it. It looks like it had just turned, and then there's this group of people. Well, it's obviously my grandpa off to the left of this bulldozer, and there just so happens to be this group of people over here.
Now you can see the problems they had on D-Day, because when the landing craft hit the sandbars, the men started wading ashore and found deeper water ahead, and those that had their life preservers too low.
So obviously this is ship 324, and this is ship 320. However, I don't know, these two clips, they jump, so I'm not exactly, like, one jumps to the other, so I'm not exactly sure if
the men started wading ashore and found deeper water ahead,
same part of the beach.
And those that had found deeper water ahead.
Actually, wow. Okay. So here's what's happening actually in
to be
Jack
rebuilt
Lieb's
after a severe
film.
storm.
So this bulldozer is actually building up the sand because that ramp can't drop low enough onto the beach to disembark these trucks. So that is actually what's going on. That this is 100% one of these guys is him, no doubt. No doubt. And this is taken probably a few minutes after this picture. I mean, there's just too many similarities about these, about this whole sequence of photos. Where is it? There's the F right there. We can assume maybe Jack Lieb was taking his video somewhere off to the right. And this is, again, the tide is way up here too. Way up. This is all sand. I mean, this is the same spot. But this is with low tide over on the right, high tide on the left. So who knows? So back in the, I mean, this right here correlates exactly with this image here. That is, without a doubt, the coolest thing. Regardless, this is very cool.
Now, you can see the problems they had on D-Day, because when the landing craft hit the sandbars, the men started wading ashore and found deeper water ahead.
So, assuming we're still looking back at that same ship, you know, there's still that group of guys over here with equipment coming off.
And those that had their life preservers.
But again, ship 324 versus ship 320. At the very least, I do believe they're in the same place at the same time. I think this shot is just the coolest damn thing. Because that very well, I mean, what else are you doing if you have your hands up like that? I don't see any unit patches though, which is unfortunate.
A severe storm.
But I'm also not taking into account whether or not the ship's drifted or not either. I mean, I doubt they would, but I mean, that's it. That is so freaking cool. All right, thanks for watching. If you got this far, I didn't mention it, but I am doing a whole project based on trying to recreate my grandpa's journey through Europe during the war, using all these images and, you know, historical archives and stuff like that. So I'm going to include the trailer to that in the end of this. If you want to watch it, cool. Let me know what you think. If not, it's cool, bro. I think it's cool, bro. No worries. There's no, like, deadline release date for it, because it's just one of those things that I don't want to rush. And I'm also very busy with work. So it's like, it'll get done when it gets done, but it's going to get done right, sort of thing. But I'm tempted to make these images go public, because, I mean, I feel like they have to be in the public. There's just too much historical value to these that I feel selfish holding them. So I'll get these all up online, I think, sometime. But for now, I'll play the trailer. And if this is something that's interesting to you, subscribe to my channel for more updates on Leo's story, the movie. Pockmarked throughout the landscape of our world, evidence of the greatest conflict known to man can still be found. The Second World War saw over 72 million people die at the hands of a melting pot of evil. From the jungles of the Dutch East Indies, the Russian steppe, the hedgerows of Normandy, men and women who stood for freedom and what good was left in the world fought. They fought to avenge the innocent lives vanquished by those driven by deeply rooted hatred. To this day, it seems as though everyone has some lineage that dates back to the war. Some grandpa, and uncle, and aunt. Some sort of connection to that very different time. My connection to that time was my grandfather, a man who I never met. Leo was gone a full 7 years before I was even born.
What day is your birthday? February 19th. That's right.
So growing up, I only got stories,
My grandpa was walking down French Street.
a lot of which being about that time he was in the war. It was a glossed over topic. No one knew or bothered to really care to ask him or learn about that time in the war. At least, that was my thought. But the truth of the matter was he never talked about it. He didn't want it to be forgotten. It turns out, Leo kept everything. He kept books, letters, postcards, receipts, flags, medals, newspaper clippings, and most importantly, pictures. Leo's not here to tell us his story, but what he brought home can.